In this video, I'm going to be giving you the basic rundown of Pokémon GO PVP. Pokémon GO's competitive game mode is fairly simple. PvP, otherwise known as player versus player battling, is all about utilizing your Pokémon to battle against other players' Pokémon in a 3-on-3 battle. While PvP can be pretty daunting for new players, mastering the basics will certainly get you where you want to be. Some of the best rewards in the game and some exclusive Pokémon only come from PvP. Thus, it is something you should try to master, especially if you reach the endgame of Pokémon GO. So for this video, I'm going to cover everything from PvP gameplay mechanics, team building, and the ranking system. After watching this video, you should have all the tools you need to get started on your Pokémon GO PvP journey. Let's start off by going over the gameplay mechanics. There are 4 different mechanics in a PvP battle: fast attacks, charge attacks, shields, and swapping. Utilizing these mechanics correctly is how you win versus your opponent. Let's talk about each of these mechanics in detail. First, let's go over fast attacks. Whenever you tap on the empty areas of your screen in a battle, you unleash what is called a fast attack. Each time your fast attack hits, you will deal damage to the opposing Pokémon and generate a little bit of energy, which you can use to unleash your charge attacks. Fast attacks can't be blocked or dodged, and they can range in different speeds, energy generation, and damage. Now, charge attacks are something different. These attacks deal a huge chunk of damage, and some of them can either debuff your opponent's Pokémon or buff up your own Pokémon. These are what you use to beat your opponents. They can be used when you have collected enough energy from your fast attacks, which will be indicated by the button for the charge attack lighting up. Now, unlike fast attacks, charge attacks can be blocked. This is possible with shields. Each player will have 2 shields at the beginning of every battle, and they cannot be replenished. When your opponent unleashes a charge attack, you have the option to use a shield to block that attack. However, you will want to be careful with how you use them, because you will only have 2 for the entire battle. Finally, there is swapping. At any point in the battle outside of when a charge attack is being used, you can switch your current Pokémon with either of the other 2 in your team. Keep in mind that when you swap out your Pokémon, you will need to wait 60 seconds before you can switch again. So yeah, when you properly utilize all 4 of these elements, you will find yourself winning more battles. Knowing when to shield and when to swap your Pokémon is how you master Pokémon GO's PvP, and a lot of that knowledge comes over time. Okay, next, let's go over the basics of team building. Simply put, you cannot just throw 3 random Pokémon together and expect to win. Team building is absolutely essential for PvP success. Knowing what Pokémon to use in whatever situation is how you go from being a good player to a great player. There are some aspects of team building you need to consider. Let's go over them right now. Fundamentally, the most basic aspect of team building you need to consider is type coverage. Simply put, you will want to cover all of your bases. Since Pokémon GO's PvP system is a glorified rock, paper, and scissors game, having full type coverage could allow you to get more wins. I mean, imagine playing rock, paper, scissors without scissors. If you run with 2 rocks and 1 paper, then the player who has all 3 will have a strong advantage. Avoid this situation by running a team of Pokémon that all cover each other. Let's say you want to build a team with a rock-type Pokémon. First, think about what rock types are weak against, notably grass, fighting, water, ground, and steel. Now for the rest of the Pokémon on that team, you will want Pokémon that are strong against these types. In a lot of cases, players will run a rock type with a flying type, as the flying type Pokémon will handle grass, fighting, and ground. You can then have a third Pokémon that handles water and steel. I think you get the idea at this point. Simply put, you just want to construct a team with enough diversity where certain types won't just roll over your entire team. There is also something called stab that you need to consider. Stab stands for same type attack bonus, and refers to the fact that Pokémon that use fast attacks and charge attacks of the same type as that Pokémon will deal slightly more damage over a Pokémon that uses the same attacks, but doesn't share the same type. For example, a Charizard using Flamethrower will deal more damage over a Bastiodon using Flamethrower. This is because Flamethrower is a fire type attack, and Charizard is fire type. Meanwhile, Bastiodon will deal less damage because it's not a fire type. This is how stab works, and it's something you need to think about when constructing your team. It's not the be-all end-all, however, because type coverage is going to be way higher of a priority over stab. One of my favorite Pokemon to use in the Go Battle League is Galarian Stunfisk. It comes with the Charge Attack Rock Slide, and is what makes it such a threat to so many opponents. However, I would opt to use Rock Slide even though it doesn't benefit from Stab, and that is because it is going to give me more coverage against Ice types and Flying types. I think you get the idea at this point, so let's move on. So the next aspect of team building that often gets overlooked is Pokemon roles. Each Pokemon has various strengths and weaknesses, which are further amplified by when and how you use them. There are some Pokemon who have a lot of defense, making them great for absorbing damage and pressuring opponents to use up their shields early. There are other Pokemon who have a lot of offense, which are great for closing out matches after your opponent's shields have been depleted. These are things you need to consider when you're constructing your team. Depending on how good a particular Pokemon is, you may want it to be your lead Pokemon or one you can reliably switch to. If you can come up with the right formula in this regard, you can easily gain more wins regardless of type coverage or stab. This kind of leads me to the last step of team building, and that is understanding the meta. Now, I'm not referring to Mark Zuckerberg's failing business endeavors. What I'm referring to is the gaming concept of most effective tactic available. In Pokemon Go's case, this refers to the list of Pokemon that are considered the best of the best when it comes to the current PvP system. This list is almost always determined by a combination of a Pokemon's base stats and their available attacks, and this list is constantly changing. One of the best resources for finding out the current meta is the website pvpoke.com. It will list out what the best Pokemon are for each league in the current season. They also have a really good team building tool. You can slot together some potential teams and see how they rate in terms of type coverage, bulk, safety, and consistency. Always be utilizing this resource, as the tools are extremely valuable for PvP success. Finally, you will want to build multiple teams with different strategies for all of the various leagues and specialty cups. The three basic leagues in the Go Battle League are Great League, Ultra League, and Master League. The CP limit for your Pokemon in the Great League is 1500, the limit for Ultra League is 2500, and the Master League has no limit. Each of these leagues will rotate in a given season, and are typically accompanied by a Specialty Cup or a Premier Cup. Each of these leagues and cups have their own meta strategy, so you will want to do a lot of research before jumping into them. Alright, for the last section of this video, let's briefly talk about the ranking system. The primary progression of Pokemon Go's PvP is through a ranking ladder. For anyone who has ever played a competitive game like League of Legends, World of Warcraft, or Valorant, Pokemon Go follows a similar system. As you win battles against other players, you will increase your rank. The higher your rank at the end of the season, the better your end of season rewards will be. Something to keep in mind is that you are limited to 5 sets of 5 battles, or 25 battles per day. The amount you move up with your ranks is going to be determined by how many wins you get in a 5-match set. If you win all 5 matches in a set, you will gain a substantial amount of rating. If you only win 1 or 2, you will barely get any rating at all. The more ratings you get, the faster your rank will increase. For the first 19 ranks, your rating will always be moving up. However, once you reach rank 20 and above, your rating will go up or down depending on your wins and losses. Rank 21 and above are all going to have a title. The final rank title you can reach is Legend, which you can get with a 3000 rating. This is technically rank 24, and very few players will ever reach it. This is the ultimate end goal for PvP. You will need a really good diverse collection and a whole lot of expertise in order to get there. Alright, so with that said, that is going to be the conclusion of this guide. Pokemon Go's PvP system has been in the game for several years now, and Niantic has been quite successful at keeping it relevant. Again, because the rewards are so good, you shouldn't ignore this particular game mode. I found that engaging in PvP has been quite enjoyable, although it can also be a great source of stress. Therefore, you should go into it with tempered expectations. You might struggle a bit in the beginning, but it will feel a lot better to battle once you pick up more Pokemon and you gain a better understanding of the intricacies of battling. Best of luck on your endeavors, and I hope the things that I talked about in this video will help you. And if you ended up enjoying this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then be sure to check out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. So if you want to interact with me in some way, like with remote raids, then do consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.